Hello, welcome to episode 197 of the Epic Film Challenge 2, 1,001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. The Sixth Sense from 1999, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. And I think this was the film that kind of spawned, well, it definitely was the film that kind of spawned the joke that an M. Night Shyamalan film is just always going to end with that big twist ending. I don't know how to talk about this film without really talking about that twist ending, so I don't know if I should just really talk about the merits of the film outside of that twist ending and then do a spoiler talk. I think I'll do that. So, first of all, my experience with the film. Of its time, it's certainly one of those films that was talked about so much in the late 90s and I guess early 2000s after it had come out and people were seeing it and stuff. I had seen it when I was maybe in my teens, I suppose. So I didn't see it when it first came out, but everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about that line, "I see dead people." But it was one that I never got to until I was maybe 13, 14. And I remembered enjoying it, but I don't think I ever really went back to it. And so watching it to review it for this video, it was like almost a new movie. I remembered lots of little bits as they started happening, but I kind of thought the movie ended a different way. I wasn't sure about certain scenes and where it was going to end up. Like it was almost like watching it for the first time in a lot of ways. And I kind of feel really disappointed in this film. I really do, because I really wish I'd gotten the chance to see this film for the first time without knowing anything about it as an adult. Because when I first saw it, I couldn't appreciate it for what it is, which is a great film that's put together so well. Watching it now, I know what the twist is, so I know what I'm looking at. And I don't get to have that experience while truly appreciating the movie. That was a bit of a disappointment. So the story follows Bruce Willis, who plays the character of Dr. Malcolm Crowe, is a child psychologist. In the beginning of the movie, we see him and his wife Anna, played by Olivia Williams, who's great and very good in this film. And they're home, and a guy turns up in their bedroom, in the bathroom of their bedroom, and it's one of Malcolm's former patients when he was a kid, called Vincent Gray, played by Donnie Whalberg, who's in the film for a matter of minutes, but makes such an impression with such a haunting and affecting performance as Vincent Gray. And that's really the catalyst, the key for the whole film, is this character and what Malcolm sees later on in a new case he's been given, a young boy called Cole Sear, played by Haley Joel Osment, whose career really took off after this. And well, it didn't really take off, but it seemed like it was going to take off, I should say. Like, it really felt like he was going to be like the next big thing. And they talked about him being Harry Potter, and he was in like Spielberg's AI and so on, and did quite a few movies. I really liked his performance in the film Pay It Forward, which is a great film with Kevin Spacey. I love that film. Well, maybe I loved it when I was a teenager. Maybe if I return to it, it might not hold up, but I remember really liking that film a lot. And he's great here. Like, Haley Joel Osment is fantastic as Cole in this film. This young kid who's a bit awkward, a bit different, and there's something special about him. And so Malcolm is seeing him, and he's his next kind of child psychology case. The movie is about their relationship and the trauma that Cole is continuously subjected to. He has a single, parent, his mother, played by Toni, who is wonderful in the film. She's a great actress, and she's so good in this, as this single mother looking after a kid who has a bit of a problem. And his problem is, it, he sees dead people. And I mean, that's kind of a spoiler in of itself, but I mean, so many people know that line. And it is one of those lines that is just been parodied to death and has been over-quoted to death. But when I watched it, it was so haunting and spooky and heartbreaking as well, with this kid who just sees dead people all the time, and he's scared of them, he's frightened of them. And the movie's about how he's supposed to deal with that and how he should deal with that. And Malcolm is trying to help him deal with that, but Malcolm is also dealing with his distant wife. They went through that incident at the beginning of the film with his former patient who went crazy, and that was kind of a sign to Malcolm that maybe he fucked up one time, and didn't help this kid the way he should have. And then he carries that weight with him too, and he really wants to help this new kid, Cole, but he feels like that the case is too similar, and maybe he's going to fall into the same mistake of not helping this kid properly. Bruce Willis is wonderful in the film. I think that given the chance, he can really show off his acting chops. He doesn't really seem that interested in doing that anymore, but given the right role, he's just so good. And I thought he was just so tender in this film, so sincere. I just thought he gave a wonderful performance, and that's where the film really takes the great material that the actors were given and elevates it even bigger into something just really memorable. I just thought the film was great. It's so much better than I remembered it. You know, again, I remembered it as just like that film, you know, The Sixth Sense, I See Dead People. It was enjoyable. Never felt the urge to return to it. Now, this is a film I feel like I'm going to go back to again and again. I thought it was excellent. I loved just how subtle it was. You know, it wasn't a film where we saw loads of ghosts and loads of dead people. It was just in small scenes when you really needed it, when it was really going to be impactful, Cole would see someone and you would see them. And I loved how it all played out and to its natural conclusion. And I think the film had a really bittersweet yet fitting ending. And yeah, so is it a film you should see before you die? Definitely. I think it's a great film. Definitely one people should check out. Great performances, really great story, and a couple of really good twists, but you probably know what they are already, so I don't know how much weight they hold. And with that, let's get into a little bit of spoiler talk. So you've been warned. Going to talk about it now, but I can't imagine anyone who doesn't know this. So, Dr. Malcolm Crowe is dead for the entire film. And when you watch it, knowing that, it's almost painfully obvious. You know, when he goes to meet his wife Anna at a restaurant and stuff, and she's looking down, she's not looking at him, and he's like, you know, why don't you talk to me and stuff? And she just takes the bill and she leaves, and it's just like, he's not there, you know. But I liked how it explored things like him going down into his basement and stuff, and the door's always locked and stuff, and he has to get a key. And then you realise maybe he wasn't even going down into his basement, and there's like a bookcase or a little kind of chest of drawers blocking it later on in the film when he realises that he's dead, and he starts to see the blood on his back from when he was shot at the beginning of the movie. I mean, we assume that he got shot by Vincent Gray and then he survived, he recuperated. But once you know the twist, you know that he's dead, you know that he's not really there with his wife. It's really just sad, and I don't know if... because I can't compare, because I don't know what it feels like to watch this film being fully aware of it and appreciating it without knowing the twist. But I don't think it harms the film. I mean, I certainly loved it. I mean, it made me tear up at times. I thought it was just a really engrossing emotional experience. But I do think that aspect of it doesn't really age as well with repeat viewings, I think. Because again, it feels a bit too obvious for me. Another criticism would be the character of the young dead girl who Cole helps her family kind of come to terms with her death in the form of letting them know in a roundabout way that her mother kind of was poisoning her, which is a really dark twist. And I just felt like that was a bit too extreme, that her mother was poisoning the young girl. Like, I love the idea of Cole pushing away his fear at seeing these ghosts and asking them what they want. What do they need, and helping them to achieve some sense of closure and to maybe move on, you know. I love that idea, but I feel like it could have been explored in a little bit less of an extreme way, of a young girl who was made sick by her mother poisoning her repeatedly and then kind of revealing that at the wake. Like, that was just a little bit too much. I had to take a little bit of a point off of the film for that. I thought it was a bit too much. But I like the idea all the same. I loved the relationship between Cole and his mother, played by Toni Collete, and it reminded me a lot of my relationship with my mother. I mean, not in the sense of what was going on with the characters, or that, you know, I had much of a trauma when I was a kid, but just the way it was played, the way Toni Collete played the mother just felt so believable as a mother to me. I don't know what it was. As a young mother, you know, my mum was young, so as a mother, so it just I connected to it. I really did. There was something that drew me more into those characters, because I believed it was a mother and a son living together, trying to make it on their own, and there's just something that I connected to quite deeply with that. And that final scene between the two in the car, oh, talk about acting, like so engrossing, such a fantastic scene. And yeah, Bruce Willis, again, maybe Bruce Willis's best performance, I don't know, like I just thought he was great. I mean, yeah, it's fun in Die Hard and stuff like that, but I think he really gives such a sensitive and touching performance in the film as Malcolm Crowe. And the kind of coda to the film, when he realizes he's dead and kind of says goodbye to his wife, just heartbreaking. It really gets me, it really does. And that's what films should do. They should get you and kind of pull at those heartstrings, and that's what this film does. I loved all the little details too, just little, like the minutiae that kind of paid off. Like, it was little details that would come back later, and I really liked that. Like when he's in the classroom and he says that people used to be hanged in this building, and the teacher's like, no, you're wrong, you know, and he kind of shows him up a little bit, and it really upsets him. And later on, without it being ever explained explicitly, we see Cole in his school, and he looks up and there's some people who are ghosts who've been hung. And so it's like, so that's how he knew. And just little details like that, I thought was the writing was really well done and executed. So M. Night Shyamalan did an amazing job with this film. Loved it. And his career was interesting. The way that it kind of evolved after this to Signs, and then other films, and then it kind of went down a bit, you know, with some other films he did, After Earth and so on. And now he seems to be hitting his stride again. Bit of a resurgence with Split this year. He's now filming Glass, so I'm all for him having a bit more of a return to form, for sure. Though I haven't seen a lot of those films that people talk trash about, so I can't really judge myself personally. But The Sixth Sense, I thought, was a real surprise. I really loved coming back to it, and it's definitely going to be a new favourite as far as that kind of story, that kind of emotional experience you get out of a film. I just thought, yeah, something about closure and moving on, but also holding on to stuff. There's a lot of things to say about death and how we deal with it, and trauma and how we deal with that as well. And I just love that relationship between Cole and Malcolm. I thought it was just so well done between the two of those actors. And that's all I really have to say. So thank you for watching. Leave your thoughts down below if you've seen the film, what you thought about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts, as always. And I'll see you in the next one.